Good morning, everyone. Hello, how are you guys doing? I'm sitting a little high. Thank you so much for being here, for stopping on in. Hopefully, you're having a nice day out there as we dive into a little bit from the Steve Howe album. We've listened to Penance off of this album, and now we're gonna take a listen to Double Rondo, released 1979, of course, his debut studio album. We're giving this a listen because it was suggested and requested by Mark. Mark, thank you so much for sending in the request. I truly appreciate that. And I see that this had also been suggested by the Reaper Man and Galier, too, 3 years ago. So thank you guys as well for the suggestion. It's been a little bit since we listened to anything Steve Howe related, and a little bit since Yes related, although I have something coming up here in the next few weeks. I was actually debating listening to their new album on the channel here with you guys. And my mind always goes, not always, but with something like this, because I know a lot of people aren't really into new Yes and such, and I just wanted to hear them just, on their own, on their own, what's the word I'm thinking of? Without prejudice. I just wanted to hear it anyways. But I was thinking like, well, do people want to listen to it with me or maybe not because it's new Yes and I know there's a lot of stigma against them. I don't know. I was just thinking about it. So I didn't and I haven't, but it's still kind of in the back of my mind. Who knows? Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But for now, Steve Howe. Here we go. I love that pizzicato orchestration. Great tone from him. harpsichord is a nice touch in there. Shift into the waltz. What a building. Very impressed by this. You know, you're gonna laugh at me perhaps, but I was actually very impressed by that and how well Howe himself integrated his style of guitar playing into something that's purely orchestral and purely symphonic in its work. And obviously, yes, and Howe in his playing is not a stranger to that type of genre and a type of that sphere. Many places in this particular piece reminded me of Tales from Topographic Oceans and kind of the deep symphonic tone poems, I guess you could say, of those prog pieces. And I think it's really, really interesting how he played in this track. When it comes to a solo musician, not a band, but a solo musician, here, of course, the guitarist playing, their solo material, and in this particular track with symphonic clothing and orchestration around it, it's very easy for, this is where my mind goes. It's very easy for the guitarist to say, okay, give me some symphony, give me the orchestra, and I'm just going to play some solo material on top of it. We're just going to like blitz through it. The calm parts will play calm. The fast parts, I'm going to play fast. And that's all it is. But this piece does none of that. It takes a studied and focused look at the composition and how so well integrates himself into the music, so that to the point that it doesn't feel like a Steve Howe solo track. It just feels like a piece of orchestration with some really cool guitar kind of taking lead in many parts. I feel like there's a sort of separation between himself and the music, but also at the same time an integration between himself and the music and how it's worked in there. And I think that goes to show just how much of a master guitarist and a master musician Howe is. Obviously, we have that, for example, in Yes, but it's cool to see that in an isolated form like this and in something so kind of completely different. Oops, that we've heard before. I don't know what I just pressed, but hopefully it wasn't stopping the recording. My hand slammed on the keyboard. And I also had accidentally mentioned that this is from his debut album. It's not. That's the second studio album as I was looking at it here. So that was my mistake. Can I say something super quick? And you guys are going to laugh at me, and I hope you do. Hold on. You're going to laugh at me because I want you to listen to this melody in the near the beginning. It's one of the main melodies he plays. Let's see if I can find. I didn't look at when it happened. I just gotta see when it comes up. It was before that. Well, he plays it again. Hold on. I should have looked at when it happened so I didn't have to skip around. Hold on, just bear with me. We're going to connect this. Come on, play it soon. Don't keep everybody waiting. That. You know why I'm saying that? Because listen to that melody, and don't tell me it doesn't sound like the vocal line. I always have to connect music to one person and one person only, and we're bringing it back.
I stole a life
to this line from Sylvian, right here.
With braids of fire.
Doesn't it kinda?
And it rained on my house.
Doesn't it kinda hit the same melody? Kind of juices it up at the end. Sorry, it took me so long to get that one simple point that I'm always connected everything I hear to David Sylvian. But back to Rondo. I also like how the piece goes through so many different aspects. It is mostly very well restrained and subtle in its approach, but there's also moments where, of course, it has a little bit more drama. Not too much. This isn't Shostakovich, with cannon fire, with kicks and stuff. Much more of it is played simply and subtly, but there's still moments where the music comes up a little bit. There's a brief moment that Howe kind of lets his guitar do a little speaking. Once again, I didn't look at the exact time stamp that it happened. Somewhere here. So glorious and magnificent how that comes through. I'm not going to skip around trying to find it, but you heard the music. There's a moment there where he lets a little bit of that heavier distortion come through just to kind of sear the steak, but after that he backs up. And as the second to last track on the album, actually I think this would work as a brilliant closer. Now the next track, the finale of the album, may be even better, but I think that this would work incredibly well as a show closer. Not only here, but also like if Howe was out on a solo tour or touring with Yes or anything like that. I think that this would be just a wonderful piece to kind of throw in the middle after a very exciting piece of music and just kind of calm things down. This was a really, really fantastic piece from him. And I'm looking here on Wikipedia. I see that this was orchestrated by Andrew Jackman, who is an English keyboardist, arranger, and composer. I'm just looking at some of his work here. He's actually performed with Chris Squire. It's kind of interesting. He's worked with Squire, providing arrangements on Fish Out of Water. Okay, so he just kind of went around with a few different of the Yes alumni. He's also worked on Termato, on Run with the Fox from Alan White. He's been around quite a bit. But this was really fantastic. What a great listen. Let me know what you all thought, of course, of this in the comments down below. Mark, thank you so much for the request and the support. I truly appreciate that. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Come back tomorrow, and I will see you all later. Bye, guys.